Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people experience but don't always talk about openly: the reality of your 20s. Growing up, we're often told that our 20s are supposed to be the best years of our lives. They're portrayed as this exciting chapter filled with freedom, adventure, and endless possibilities. Then one day, you realize you're no longer a teenager and suddenly you're expected to have everything figured out. Sound familiar? But what if your 20s don't feel like that? What if they feel confusing, overwhelming, and honestly a little terrifying? The truth is, your 20s are about so much more than reaching legal milestones or gaining independence. They're often filled with uncertainty, pressure, and this constant feeling that you're somehow racing against a clock that nobody actually gave you. One of the strangest parts about being in your 20s is watching everyone move through life at a completely different speeds. Some people are getting married while others are starting to build families of their own. Some are building careers, pursuing graduate degrees, traveling the world, or buying homes. And some are simply trying to figure out what they want for dinner tonight. Yet somehow we're also expected to feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. In your early 20s, there's often this expectation that you should still be having fun and exploring life. And while that may be true for some people, for others, reality shows up pretty quickly. Bills need to be paid. Responsibilities start piling up. You begin thinking about your future. And suddenly you're balancing this weird combination of wanting to enjoy life while also feeling pressure to have everything figured out. It's this constant battle between saying, I'm still figuring things out, while simultaneously feeling like you should already know exactly where you're headed. Then comes that mental checklist. You know the one. The build a career, make a good money, find the right partner, get married, start a family, buy a house, maybe travel, save for retirement, stay healthy, maintain friendships, and somehow, with all of that, still enjoy life along the way. It's pretty exhausting if you ask me. For those pursuing higher education, there could be that stress of student loans, delayed financial stability, and wondering whether all the hard work will pay off. For those already working full-time, there could be that imposter syndrome, uncertainty about career choices, and the fear of getting stuck in a job that doesn't align with who you are. And there's those who don't know what they want to do and are stuck wondering what is next. And layered on top of all of this is that quiet pressure of the biological clock and the balancing act of trying to become financially stable. There could be the questions about when or if you want to start a family, and whether you will be the right place emotionally, physically, and financially when that time comes. It can feel like you're being pulled in multiple directions at once, trying to build a career, create security, and still leave space for the life you want in the future. No matter which path you're on, it can feel pretty overwhelming. And then when we add the social media and start that conversation, we start looking how it all seems to be perfectly aligned. Social media has a way of making everyone else's life perfectly timed. You scroll through your feed and see engagement announcements, weddings, promotions, dream vacations, new homes, babies, degrees, and business successes. Before you know it, the questions start to creep in. Am I failing behind? Should I be doing more? Am I making the right choices? Should I go back to school? Should I get married, start a family? Or should I completely change careers? Comparison becomes a thief of joy and pulls us away from being in the present. But here's the problem. We're comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. What social media rarely shows us is the struggle, setbacks, doubts, failures, and sacrifices that happen behind those milestone posts. And because we don't see those parts, it's easy to assume everyone else has it figured out. The reality is that most people don't. They're just figuring it out differently. Life doesn't come with an instruction manual. There isn't one perfect timeline. There isn't one right path. Getting a job often requires experience, and sometimes lots of it. Finding a life partner requires timing, compatibility, and sometimes a little luck. Starting a family involves emotional, financial, and personal readiness. Even learning how to enjoy life can feel difficult when you're constantly worried about what comes next. The more pressure we place on ourselves to keep up with everyone else, the harder it becomes to appreciate where we are. And sometimes we become so focused on achieving what we think should make us happy that we never stop to ask ourselves what actually does. I think that's one of the biggest lessons for our 20s. Learning the differences between pursuing a life that looks successful and pursuing a life that feels meaningful to you. Because those aren't always the same thing. And while we're talking about that success, let's talk about something equally important. Let's talk about mental health. In a world that constantly encourages productivity, achievement, and comparison, protecting your mental health becomes essential. No one's going to prioritize it for you. You have to give yourself permission to rest, to grow, to make mistakes, to change directions, to start over if necessary. Your 20s is not a race. There's a period of self-discovery. A time to learn who you are, what matters to you, and what kind of life you want to build. Some lessons will come easily. Others come through failure, heartbreak, rejection, and uncertainty. But every experience is teaching you something. So if you ever felt behind, this is your reminder. You're not behind. You're learning, you're growing, and you're becoming. Just because someone else has reached a milestone before you doesn't mean you're failing. It simply means you're on a different timeline. And that's okay, because your journey is your own. Your pace is your own. And your version of success gets to look different from everyone else's. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Be kind to yourself, celebrate your progress, focus on your growth. And remember that happiness isn't found by keeping up with everyone else. It's found creating a life that feels authentic to you. Your 20s will have highs and lows, moments of confidence and moments of doubt. But somewhere in that roller coaster, you'll find your balance. And when you do, you realize you were never behind at all. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope to see you in the next episode.